We're all getting older and Tasmania is ageing faster than any other Australian state. Within the next decade, around 1 in 5 Tasmanians will be over 65. A recent national report identified a need for more flexible housing for people wanting to maintain their independence as they get older. One community model in southern Tasmania is doing just that.
We're having marinated roast beef with our own pumpkin, carrots, peas that were all grown here.
Marilyn Swan knows how tricky it can be to feed a crowd.
Hard to please everybody. Sometimes. I say that smiling.
A bit like having a large family.
It is, yes. And it is like having a large family. It's lovely.
This is not your typical family though. It's a bit like a share house for older Tasmanians. They're residents of Abbeyfield House in the Huon Valley.
We find that most of the people who come into the house are widows, people who have probably had a lifetime partner who no longer have that person, so who find that they can't cope with their existing home or they don't feel safe in their existing home.
For many, ageing can be a lonely and isolating time. Hilgi Beale confronted life alone after the death of her husband.
He passed away 3 years ago and I was at a loss, you know, I mean, was so busy for so long.
Abbeyfield was established after the Second World War in the United Kingdom for returned ex-servicemen without family. It's since evolved into a supported housing model for older residents.
There's some 9,000 residents under the Abbeyfield banner worldwide, of which about 8,000 are in the UK, 1,000 in the rest of the world, around 260 in Australia in 26 sites.
But it's not a nursing home.
Absolutely not. There's no nursing services provided. They have to be able to look after themselves, shower themselves, get their own breakfast and clean their own areas.
Abbeyfield House in Huonville was built on 2 acres of land, donated along with some cash by local resident Alison McMullen for the benefit of the Huon Valley. The community needed a bit more capital before the $1 million property could be built. So 13 years ago they approached local bank manager Kent Wells to help source some extra funds.
They need someone with some financial nous on the committee to support that request. So that one of my customers at work asked me to do that, and I've been here ever since.
The house is run by a committee, the grounds maintained by a part-time gardener, volunteers and residents. Day to day there's a paid housekeeper who lives on site, prepares meals, looks after the common areas and settles any disputes.
You grow up in a big family. You're going to hate your sister occasionally, you're going to hate your brother occasionally. We're over it in no time. So we work on that sort of a principle.
And in the most difficult cases, we would also use outside sources to settle disputes, and that has happened on one occasion at this house. If they can't reach an agreement and live together, then obviously there needs to be a divorce.
Marilyn Swan also organises day trips and activities. Any pets have to be agreed to by all residents. Honey the dog won them over.
She is an old lady and she was so much comfort when I had to look after my husband, you know, and I got the okay. Everybody likes her very much. They love her actually and feed her, so she gets a little roly-poly. And but she's a good little watchdog.
It took 76-year-old Hilgi Beale a little longer to settle in.
It took me a few months. I said, well, did I do the right thing? But then all of a sudden I said yes.
Mr. Wells says the adjustment can take some time.
Absolutely, and a lot of the residents are older ladies who are used to being the boss of their own household, and they have to adjust to living with other people, and generally we find that happens well. And funnily enough, the ladies like to have an odd male in the house, but not too many, I think.
There are currently 6 female and 2 male residents at the house. Both the men were camera shy when 730 Tasmania visited. There's room for 2 more, and Del Shadforth, who doesn't like to reveal her age but is in her 80s, is calling on men not to be shy.
There are a lot of people who are lonely out there who don't know about this type of living, and particularly men. Wonderful for men to come in and have their meals cooked. They can potter in the garden and go out, do their own thing.
Ms Shadforth is a keen gardener and looks after the resident chooks. While still sprightly, she was tired of living alone with the television for company.
It's lovely to go to the table and have company to eat your food. It's also very lovely to have your food cooked for you, and we get extremely good meals here.
Residents do their own laundry and bring their own furniture for their rooms, which all have an ensuite and outside access. There are 5 Abbeyfield houses in Tasmania, and they all run on the same principle. 70% of the pension plus rent allowance covers all food, power, rates. There are no other bills.
I would think that demand will increase and this type of accommodation will be in demand in the future.
To find somewhere where I was cared for, where I was free, where I could just live my life quite normally. I didn't want a nursing home, and it takes some finding a place like this where you're independently living.